reality is in Australia something like 230 young people aged 17 to 24 lose their lives on the road each year. And something we often forget is that 20 times that number are left with a life-changing injury, be that a serious brain injury or a spinal injury. So it is certainly a real challenge, and a challenge for our community out there, that there is such a high risk for our young drivers and their passengers. They are out there solo, and often they have their mates in the car, and how they drive and their attitude to road safety certainly does change when they have their mates in their car with them. And this is something we do address in the RYDA program, to let the passengers realise that they can have a very significant influence on the environment inside that motor car.
Any police officer would say that one of the worst aspects of their job is having to go and tell a family that their loved one's not coming home, and then having to deal with that process and pick up the pieces. So I think getting those messages across to the kids is that the consequences of their actions can play a huge role, not just on themselves and their families, but the whole community.
One really dramatic demonstration that we do is we show where a vehicle can stop at 50 kilometres an hour. And we show that if you're doing just 10 kilometres an hour above that speed limit, which you often don't recognise in the car, it can make the difference of being able to stop or hitting a pedestrian at 30 kilometres an hour. The opportunity to share with some young people knowledge so they can make smart decisions. And that's really what it's all about. The young people are smart out there, but they often don't have all that information out there.
So much today. I mean, I never realised that the stopping distance was as short as it was.
We often have a young person who comes along and tells their story when they made some decisions a year or two ago, right, and they did not make a smart decision on the road, and the consequences that it's impacted upon their life. Often they come along with a brain injury, sometimes they're in a wheelchair, and they speak to the students, and it has a real dramatic impact. Some of the other things the students see in the RYDA program is that we actually run a video which is called Genevieve's Story, and it's a true life story of two young girls who were tragically killed in a road crash. And we go through and analyse what happened there, what decisions were taken. And the big thing about the Genevieve session is that we tell the students, you can learn from Genevieve's experience. You do not have to have that same outcome that Genevieve and her friend had in a road trauma.
Watching Genevieve's story really made me think about my driving and what action I need to take to stop it from happening to me.
Having the whole package of the Genevieve story, as well as the demonstrations out the front, putting that all together as a program will be far more effective than just one section of it. So I think programs like this should be in schools.
When I leave here, I'll be a better driver and safer on the roads and safe for people around me.
We're up to about 430,000 students have attended the program since the program was initiated. Each year we have over 50,000 students attending the program, which is a great achievement. But of course every year there's a new group of students coming along, there's a new group of our learner drivers out there, and so our challenge is to make sure to continue to provide the program.
Just the trauma of going to a serious accident, it can have long-term effects on police, ambulance, fire. So yeah, driving those numbers down obviously will have an impact on everybody.
I've learnt a lot. The practicals really helped because I hope to never be in that situation, so I know how to avoid being in that situation.
It opens your eyes to how quickly things can escalate just from a little crash to affecting a lot of lives, and how serious little things can get. So yeah, definitely be a safer driver on the roads.